Hey everyone, it's One Mike Out. I'm your host, Mike. Today I want to talk about this little thing called mental health, mental illness. The two go hand in hand with each other. I want to talk about it because I got into a discussion, online friendly discussion with a friend on the interwebs, who we were talking about the Secretary of Health, RFK, and a lot of people are in opposition of RFK, and I brought up the former Secretary of Health under Biden, Rachel Levine, I think, who was a born male, biological male, who decided to transition to a female in their head. There's no way to change your gender at all. You cannot change your sex. It is impossible to do so. You can, I can take the frame of a Toyota Celica and make it look like a Supra, but it's still a Celica on paper. The VIN number, everything says it is that. Or I could put a Camaro body on the chassis of a Toyota or a Ford Fusion, or something like that. It's not a Camaro. It might look like it, but it is still not. It's the same concept. And so I brought up, the discussion kind of went, where he was saying something, RFK was saying something about the Spanish flu. He misspoke, was not speaking about the Spanish flu. However, he did it. And, people are jumping all over him for it. So, I hop in and I'm like, well, it's better than the last one, because if you look at the last one, obviously the last Sec of Health was confused, very confused. And I was fired back at with so now you're judging people by the way they look. And I said, absolutely, I am. And the reason I do that, the reason for that is no matter the education of the person, no matter what institutions they went to, this degree up here, that doesn't really tell you how smart a person is. It just tells you that you were able to go to a school for 4+ years or more and do the work and get a diploma. It doesn't mean that you're intelligent. It just means that you were able to discipline yourself for a long enough period of time to get a piece of paper. And this person, the previous Sec of Health, clearly, in my opinion, if you're born a certain way, like biological male, and you think that you're a female, or you wait so many years in your life and then all of a sudden it becomes trendy, and then you decide to mutilate yourself or start taking hormones and things like that that change your outward appearance, I believe that is a mental illness. And what constitutes that not being a mental illness, if you're of the type that says, no, it's not, then what constitutes any other mental illness out there being a mental illness? How can you then defend that? How is somebody with an autistic disorder, Asperger's, or somebody out there who's suffering from depression, how can you not say that they are not suffering from mental illness? Yes, they are. There's something mental, which comes from the word mind, which means it's coming from your head space, that is not right. And so we use the term ill, which is illness. We say, hey, you have a mental illness. There's something mentally going on with you that is not the way it should be. And therefore we're deeming it this, and we can treat it. The moment we placate to those who, and pander to those who are like, no, this is normal behavior. What that does is if being able to mentally manipulate someone wasn't a thing, there would be no such thing as marketing and advertising. I wouldn't have 1,000 ads and commercials on TV. I wouldn't have people try and convince you in a debate to sway you one way or the other. You're trying to get somebody to do something that maybe they didn't necessarily agree with, but you want them to agree with your point. So what you're trying to do is get them to see your side and come over to your side. There's mental manipulation out there. It is running rampant. That is in the entertainment industry right now, and there is no doubt that they're placating to those who are suffering with those sorts of mental illnesses, and they are trying to mentally manipulate them to go through with it. And then they're trying to go with those who aren't even fully developed minds yet. And they're trying to put into their head that, hey, it's not a bad thing if you want to do this or do that, or if you have these thoughts or anything. Don't bring it up to your parents, though. Well, why not? Because they know that it's wrong. Parental instinct. And I'm sorry if anyone gets offended by this, but that's your choice. That's your prerogative. that means that you have something mentally going on upstairs that is hitting the trigger button, hitting the little bell saying, I need to be offended. And that's your prerogative to let that control you and to let that have that manipulation and control over you. I believe that homosexuality is a mental illness. I believe it's wires crossed. I believe that the point of us being having two sexes on this planet for human beings is to procreate. If you take God and everything else out of it, and it's just a basic survival instinct of a species that has advanced to a point to where we can articulate and converse with one another, and we can understand and reason with one another, that is the sole purpose of us being here, is to ensure the survival and survivability of our species. Bring God into it. Obviously you have that going for for that side. This isn't a right versus left. This isn't a this versus them. It is literally just recognizing a mental illness, a condition, and going, you know what, that person's not right in the head. And so it went on to where if I judge someone outwardly, I'm going to believe that they aren't able to have the same rationale as myself, or they're not able to receive the education that they supposedly received in school. They weren't able to apply it the way that it was meant to be applied. So that right there calls into question, do I want someone who believes, that they can be a female, but they know deep down they truly can't be, to be the Secretary of Health? Absolutely not. Just as I wouldn't want someone who was going through tattooing their entire body with scales, slitting their tongue, eyebrow implants, the contact lenses, the implants in the fingers and all that to make themselves look like a reptile. And then you're like, oh, this person is going to be the new Secretary of Health or whoever. Now you might be able to, you might go up to your hill that you want to die on and go, how dare you? Anybody can be whatever they want. No, that's true. They can be, but yeah, they have to have enough support and people behind them to go, is that person right in the head to be able to carry out those sorts of duties? RFK wants to literally take out chemicals and other additives to our food here in the United States that they do not allow in other countries. And you have people who are mad at him for wanting to do that. You have people who they're mad at Doge and that whole thing because, they're finding all this fraud, but they're just mad just to be mad. And so you have people who are going to choose their hill to die on because they believe it's virtuous. They believe they're dignified in it. And there's a little bit of self-righteousness that's in it. And they placate to an audience that they might have due to their status within society, that they believe that if they were to say the other thing, that it would hurt their image. And to that, I have nothing to say to that. I can completely 100% understand why you would think that way and be that way at that point. But don't come at us and say that you're virtuous, and don't come at us and say that you're being humble and that you're just this dignified person, who is going with throughout life, always choosing the right side, because in this case you're not. What you're doing is you're contributing to an epidemic that is harming young Americans, and the more this manipulation is kind of given a mark of approval by these celebrities who are out there, because to them, that's their fan base. They forget about the other. This was a mandate. Trump was put into office with a mandate. The majority of Americans, and this is we already know the left side still doesn't understand. This is exactly what we voted for. The majority of Americans. You're going to have those that still don't agree, but they also don't want to sit down and go, why was the majority of the country, the population, wanting him? What is it that we're doing? Maybe we are a little messed up. Maybe there is something going on. There's a lot of friends that I have in social media who are homosexual, who are Trump supporters, and they see, and when you say Trump supporters, it's almost like that's taboo in a way. It's not just being Trump supporter. It's just, I'm not a supporter of what the left is doing right now. And the only other better choice that we have is Trump. It's not about just this, let's put Trump up on a cross and say he's the new Lord and Savior of America. No, He is just the person who is in the way of this sick agenda being pushed and the sick manipulation that is being pushed on our youth and our younger generations today. So that is my rant about that. I believe it is a mental illness. Wanting to transition your body, thinking you can, if I went around and I want to make believe, pretend to play with my kids that I'm a dinosaur for the moment, I'm not going to go out and really believe I am a dinosaur and then expect people to accept me socially out in public that I am truly a dinosaur and then treat me as such. No, I'm just playing with my kid in the living room, or that I am a dinosaur for a second. Yeah, rawr, whatever, or if you're going to act like you're a superhero for a second, or for Halloween dress up, that's fine. But when your delusions, you start to demand that everyone else have to cater to your delusions, then we have societal problems. And we have problems to where we go, nope, now that's a little bit of a mental illness because you actually believe that you can do something to yourself that is impossible to do. So yes, I will judge people by their appearance. That's the whole point of stereotyping. Stereotyping is a defense mechanism. You turn down a certain road in certain parts of New Orleans or Compton or in northern Idaho, you're going to look around at the people, or in somewhere in the middle of Georgia, and you're going to start making some judgment calls for yourself. Why? Because you're going to start to feel a little uneasy because you're probably going to be the odd one out. And now you're drawing a lot of attention to yourself. There's a reason we stereotype. There's a reason we look and we judge people by an outward appearance. And that is a primitive instinct that we have had from the dawn of time to help us be able to protect ourselves and our clans and our tribes and whoever from opposing tribes and clans and whoever. So no, the PC culture of no, we're, I see no color, bull crap. We all do, we're all realists. We do. And we should celebrate the fact that we are all different, but we're able to unify under one common cause. And that's being an American. So that's my thought. Again, my rant on that. But Rachel Levine is 1000% batshit crazy and was a absolutely atrocious Secretary of Health. And thank God we got RFK in there. This is Mike with One Mike Out, and I'll catch you with the next one.